Hello, welcome to Herdstone Painting. My name's Mark, and today we're painting a Tomb King Blitzer from the new Blood Bowl Season 3 box set. You can obviously buy this team separately, but I thought Blood Bowl's my favourite game at the moment, or has been for a while, so why not paint a positional from each team? So we thought we'd start with the Blitzer, as he's the most interesting skeleton of the box set, and you can apply all the methods to your other models. So, starting with a Wraithbone spray, we want to go in and actually repaint Wraithbone over the whole model. Just a gentle coat, just in case you make any mistakes. You're not going to be able to go back and match the Wraithbone from the spray exactly. And then we'll slather that with Agrax Earthshade all over. Give it a really deep coat. You want to get quite a lot of deep recesses here. It'll take some time to dry, but it's worth the wait. And you want to go in with some Wraithbone. Again, on the wet palette, just a nice smooth coat along all of those bones. Finished with white scar on any of the tips, the teeth, the edges of the bones, all around the hands. Just take your time picking out the higher details, and you'll get a nice smooth bone finish, which I think is nicer than dry brushing this kind of finishes on. So moving on to the shorts, this is a positional for the Sunstroke Saboteurs, which I'll go into what that team is in a bit. But we're going to go in with Corvus Black and paint the shorts. Two thin coats of this paint, and we want to go with Corvus Black because we want to be able to take it back to black using a wash. And Corvus Black's just great for this. It's just fabrics. It always looks fantastic. So grab your Nuln Oil and again douse that Corvus Black with the Nuln Oil, and you'll notice it will kind of really deepen the recesses here. And we'll go back in with Corvus Black once that's dry and just re-layer it over the higher areas. We want to leave that black in the recesses wherever possible. And it's just a more realistic black colour than actually just being a Badham black. And we're not going to go do any like odd colour highlighting here. We're just going to get Mechanicus Standard Grey and Dawnstone and do a pairing of edge highlighting. So I think with this you want to run around the top of the shorts and then pick out some of the folds with a heavier highlight line of Mechanicus Standard Grey, and then Dawnstone you just want to pick out the real edges of this model. The black is a real contrast to our armour. And talking of which, here's the armour. So we're going to use Corax White. And we're going to also paint this on the straps of the shorts, like the lines down the side. Corax White's a very thick paint, so you don't want to apply this directly. You want to apply two thin coats here, maybe three. I think I got away with two. And you want to do this before we're doing the edges. So we're going to get in there, paint all of the armor elements. Now we're not doing a two-tone effect because these are the colours of the team I've picked, but you could pick different colours. But in this case, we're going to do a Nuln Oil Lahmian Medium 50-50 split of wash, and it's nicer than using a grey wash. It just doesn't. I feel with a grey wash, you can easily lose those edges, whereas the black you get a little bit more wiggle room when you go back in and highlight everything. And in this case, we're going straight back in with Corax White, and we're re-layering the Corax White on top. Same consistency, we want it quite thin down, and you're probably going to want to do two coats, leaving a thin line of that wash in all the recesses and the edges. And then finally, White Scar, we're just going to highlight the top elements of all of these panels. If you want to paint your Tomb Kings in other colours, drop a comment and we can come up with a potential scheme. But we're sticking with the white and black as our primary colours for this team. Moving on to the loincloth, I didn't want to deviate too far away from the black and whites. So we've gone with a grey, but I've gone with Stormhost Silver, which has got that yellowy tone to it. So we've got a little bit of colour in here. And this is a layer paint. I mean, other brands will be different, but this is quite thin. So I have thinned it down a bit, and we will do two coats of this and wash it with Nuln Oil. And it just gives a little bit of extra colour. The gold, of course, when we get to that, will blow this model up and, you know, really make it pop. Once that Stormhost Silver and Nuln Oil is dry, we'll go back in with Stormhost Silver again and paint over all of the higher recesses in the relayering, leaving only the deepest pieces with the Nuln Oil. And then we'll highlight with a spot of Dawnstone up the edges of each of these loincloth pieces. And I think each model's got different loincloths, so you may have to alternate how you paint these sections, especially the skeleton linemen. They seem to have slightly less dress. And then finally, Administratum Grey will just pop on the real edges of the loincloth pieces. So we're going to do the straps, the belts, the sandals all at the same time. And if you're painting on the thrower, you can also do the ball in this colour scheme. So ignore the red elements for now, I'll get into that in a moment. But we'll paint all of the straps with Rhinox hide, and this paint's great. It should be fine with just one coat. And then we will get in again with Nuln Oil. So you could, of course, paint all of the base coats and then do all of the Nuln Oil together, but I'm trying to show the individual elements in these videos all as one, so you can pick and choose the elements you want. So you could wash everything at once and then go in and highlight everything at once to whatever suits your fancy. But we'll highlight the Rhinox hide once it's painted with Gore4 Brown, and you can do that with the ball as well. But I would recommend on the ball just painting Rhinox hide back over it to bring it back out from that Nuln Oil wash. So the armour, I was umming and ahhing about going a tone down here and doing almost like a brass colour, but I thought no, it's Tomb Kings, they would be gold. So we've gone with the tried and tested Retributor Armour here. I mean, there's some other brilliant golds out there, but Games Workshop's Retributor Armour is, I still think, one of the best, and this will take a while. So you're going to have to work around the model bit by bit. There'll be bits you miss, just go back in and repaint them with Retributor Armour. It should be okay with one coat, but check how you go. And then you want to take your time and wash all of that with Reikland Fleshshade. That's probably the most fiddly bit, because that wash can go all inside your armour colour. So you've got to work around carefully. Then we get into Liberator God. I'm pretty much highlighting everything here, leaving only the recesses with the Reikland Fleshshade. And then finally an edge highlight of Stormhost Silver on all of those top elements. This is the most time consuming part of the model, and it does of course make it pop, and that white and black's almost secondary to all of that yellowy gold, so it's something to consider when you're thinking about your colour scheme. So taking a step back here, I filmed this previously, but I wanted to have it all together. We're putting Flesh Terror's Red on the arm section because I had a cool idea about this team, which I'll explain later. And then we're going to go in once that's dry and highlight that with Squig Orange. And then when that's finished, we'll make a little 50-50 mix of Squig Orange and White Scar. I think that you could maybe use a flesh tone here. Maybe Cadian flesh tone is very, very close. I did a quick mix, and we're just going to highlight the bottom left-hand corner, then the top right-hand corner, and then some of the skull elements as well. So yeah, we're pretty much painting the last piece of the model here. They're pretty straightforward. They're pretty rapid once you get that gold done. But we're going to base coat the gorget or the face mask element with Iron Hand Steel. It's the only piece on this model that is metal. And then we'll wash it with Nuln Oil, which is the primary wash for this model. And of course, obligatory fan, because everything takes forever to dry. And then we'll just get in with Stormhost Silver and quickly add the final highlight to this chap. So that's our Sunstroke Saboteur Tomb King Blitzer pretty much finished. And the basing we've done in a real simple desert-based theme. I can do a quick guide of how this has been done if you guys prefer at some point. So yeah, the Sunstroke Saboteurs were a human team who were cursed by a Hierophant after they won a Tomb King tournament, and they were left to die in the desert. As that's their name, the Sunstroke Saboteurs. They weren't previously called that. And here he is with the Grail Knight from the Paravon Pamplemooses, who are a bit of a DBL team of legend. But anyway, that's our rapid fire video for this Tomb King Blitzer. We hope you've enjoyed. Like and subscribe, and if not, thanks for stopping by. See you next time. Bye bye.